Okay, hello
Hi, Shul.
everybody. Starting this mentoring session, we will first answer a few questions, and then I will share with you a new technique that you can do around the energy hug idea, but with several people, with two people at the same time. So let's first go into a question. There is one about the horse handling experience that I ask you to submit at the beginning of the certification part or at the end of the first module, right? So what is expected? What do I want to see? What should you submit? First, don't stress over it. It's not I don't want to see something super special, super specific. If you are recording yourself and you don't have an assistant like to record you in the interaction, you can just like, I don't know, for example, walk between the horses, tell me something about them, show that you are able to, I don't know, to like touch them and interact with them, that they are calm and that they are willing to interact. Shondell, for example, shared a personal space and sharing territory activity where the horses are interacting, one is rolling, two are like scratching each other and like showing affection, that kind of stuff. It could also be I don't know, I go to the pasture, I halter the horse, I lead it back, something like that. um
Okay.
Moving the herd if you want to, like anything that shows that you are comfortable around the horses and that you can manage a bigger group of horses, that you feel safe,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Okay.
yeah, just like seeing the characters of the horses, something like that. And then also when
Okay.
we come
Thank you.
to the point, I already know most of you, so it's not such a big deal. I just need a little bit of
Yeah.
proof about, who are you working with and how are they behaving to make sure that it's going to be safe for, for clients or for your visitors.
For clients. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
I
you're
do
welcome.
have another question.
Yeah.
So in class, the herd behavior class, number 9, there is a mention about an intuitive competence workbook.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and is this something that you can share with us
Yes.
after the class? Okay.
Yes. And did I say in the class that I will provide the link, or did I just say it?
Uh, I think it was a discussion. I think Raya was sharing something, and you mentioned that you will
Yeah.
send it to her because it would be helpful.
Ah, okay. Yes. So yes, I'm gonna send it to you,
Okay.
and so we can keep it as in the like, if somebody's interested, then they can ask for it. Um,
Okay.
it's
Yes.
it's it's really helpful for like building your services. So for
Mm-hmm.
somebody who already has like a really clear understanding of what they want to offer, it's probably
Mm-hmm.
not necessary. But for somebody who is like building their service and finding, what is my specific gift, it can be
Yes.
really, really good. So okay, I'm gonna share that with you, Vasya. Mhm.
Okay. And last question, I think this is from the homework workbook that we have. There is
Mhm.
a mention about to explain the sense of coherence plus an example. I'm a
Mhm.
bit confused about this, and I would like your help if you could point me to the
Sure.
right direction. What?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure. So there is a couple of mentions of that in the classes, of
Mm-hmm.
the sense of coherence, but we can absolutely like walk through it right now. So the sense of coherence is a theory that was developed by a sociologist, and it's about explaining human behavior after a stressor. And this guy, Aaron Antonovsky, he found out that it doesn't depend on the magnitude or the nature of the stressor that you are affected by, but it depends on how you rate that experience. And he divided it into three different parts. One is the comprehensibility. Do I understand what is going on? So, an example for that would be here in Ecuador, we had a big earthquake a couple of years ago, and I did a few projects in that area, and it turned out that many people were scared because they didn't understand like why or how an earthquake can happen. So there were all kinds of theories like this is God punishing us, for example, or this is
Mm.
something that um, like it will increase in strength over time, or it is unpredictable. Well, it is unpredictable, but it's also,
Mhm.
we explained about the plate tectonics and why there's aftershocks, and that it's not something that only you feel, but like the whole area will have the same experience because it's actually the plates that are moving and stuff like that. And it really helped them understand or make sense of their traumatic experience, understanding that it is not a personal punishment, or it's not just you like going crazy imagining that the earth is moving all the time, because the aftershocks kind of feel like that. It feels like you're
Mhm. Yeah.
so immersed in that movement that
Yeah.
it seems like the earth is trembling all the time, because it is. It actually is,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is comprehensibility, understanding why something happens. Then you have the second concept, which is manageability. That is about having the tools, the knowledge, maybe the being brave enough of doing something about it. So do you feel capable of using whatever is needed to fix the problem or to deal with the problem? Um, for example, or one example that I'm using in the class, your car breaks down and wouldn't move anymore. So you understand that that's not because the motor is broken, but because there is no gasoline in it. And then you know that you
Mhm.
have, I don't know, a container, and you can walk or take a bus to the next gas station and fill it up and then fill the car again. If you don't have a tank, a canister, anything to put the gasoline in, you will be more stressed because you don't have the tools to actually fix it. If you are, I don't know, 100 miles away from the next gas station, you will also be more stressed, because even though you understand what's going on, you cannot manage it. You have no
Mhm.
way to deal with it, right? And then the
Yeah.
last one is is blockage,
Meaning. Yeah.
meaningfulness. Exactly. Thank you.
Meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the meaningfulness is about how do you integrate that concept into your life. So, do you think again, like, am I being punished for going late to the meeting and then my car breaks down, and it's suggesting that women shouldn't drive, or all kinds of things that people make
Mhm.
up in their minds? Or can you think about, I should be more careful and check that more frequently, or the gas meter is broken and I need to take it to the mechanics. And that is just, something that can happen, and I don't have to feel personally punished about it. Um,
Mhm.
so how do you deal with it in your bigger life context? And then of course, the more personal an event is, the more difficult it is. So do you believe that everything happens for a reason, even the really bad things? Is everything a learning opportunity? But then, could you maybe have had an easier learning opportunity? So it's
Okay.
it's going to be different for everybody, but it's important to also put that into account, because if you ignore that, how to integrate it or how to give it meaning, then the effect that the stressor has on you will be greater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Crystal clear. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much. Given the
You're welcome.
examples.
Okay.
That were all my questions that I had for today.
Okay. Chandel, what about you? Do you have any questions? Thank you so much for your beautiful pictures and videos of your herd. They were fantastic.
So I I have some questions. I'm just driving between two classes, so I'm in my car. Um,
Mhm.
like I've been writing them down. I don't have them right here with me, but mostly I've been making a list of questions for our call next week.
Mhm.
So I can go through those with you on the call if that would
Mhm.
work better. And you won't take the time to do it because I kind of have a list, but most of my questions were more specific to now that I'm finishing the foundations course, like
Mhm.
there are more questions about to work with clients and how I guess when you get specific clients, how do you know, do I need to have them come with an intention? Do I need to make sure that they do prior thinking and not work? Or do you just offer to some people, this is a really neat experience. So do you have people that come that don't necessarily have something they're trying to heal from? Or so those are my types of questions. So I'm happy to just go through those with you next week as well.
Yes. Um, so a lot of those will be answered also in the second part of the course when you are building like your niche and your clientele, but we can absolutely talk about those. And in general, you will learn that as you prepare for the sessions, it's always better to have or it's needed to have an intention and a goal for that session. And that goal could be meeting horses, right? Or relaxation or something. It doesn't have to be trauma healing and something huge. It can be I want to meet horses from a different angle. I want to have an experience in nature that is relaxing, something like that. Um, and as you ask your client to set that kind of intention or to share their goal, it's way easier for you to lead the session and also come to a good closure, because otherwise it will like stay in the air and it's very difficult to find a closing. Yeah.
Oh,
And very often that goal that somebody presents will change during the session. So somebody could come with, I don't know, I'm scared to speak on stage and I need more self-esteem, and then they find out that it's actually about something else and that they don't feel heard or seen since their childhood, and that's why they have an issue with that. And then all of a sudden you talk about mom and dad instead of speaking on stage, right? So there's usually a root cause behind their presenting topic or problem that is more important than what they're coming with.
I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that phone call.
Yes, yes, and we will. So for all of you, in at the end of the foundations course, as you present, like where are you at with your horses? How is your herd behaving? I'm also inviting you to a private call so that we can discuss, what has worked so far, what has not worked, like what do you want to focus on, etc. So that you go into the certification part with just a clearer idea of, what is your personal path and focus based on your situation with the horses. And that is really different for everybody. So like, for example, Shondell has a big herd, she has foals and mares and a big riding arena. So there is a lot of different options that she can work with. Other people maybe have two horses that live together in a paddock, in a small paddock. They will have different circumstances, and that will determine a little bit more in which direction you go, the service wise, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so all of you, if you're coming to that place, please book the call and have a private conversation with me to find out, more details of what you're going to offer. Okay, if we don't have any more questions right now, then let me share something. No, where is it? Let me first open it. I want to share a picture so that you get a better idea of this activity that I want to talk about. Here. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Okay, so I was in Colombia for the last 2 weeks, and I did a constellation with horses course, and then a heart coherence with horses in a different location. And that second herd was really interesting because they live in under very good circumstances. They live together outside, 9 horses or 9 equines sharing spaces. Lots of them are related, like there's moms and sons and daughters, and they are able to stick together in a very close way, which is not usual for horses. So they they form or they have really strong bonds. But they were asking for more. And it turned out that these horses they're really calm, they're well behaved, they work really well together, they like each other, but they were still very much misunderstood by their owner. And I'm going to share 2 short videos in the group about the horses asking for a very specific treat of scratching their butts. One of the horses, or one of the mares, a young filly, started and kind of turned around and stepped with her butt closer to us, and the owner was like, "Whoa, be careful, she might kick." And I'm like, I don't think that's that." And I started to scratch her butt, and she was like, "Oh," she's like, "Yeah, give me more of that." Such pleasure. And it was so interesting because we had 4 horses in that little arena at the time. All 4 of them asked for this, one after one. The next day, others asked for it during 3 days. All of the equines, including the donkey, asked for that specific butt scratch. And the owner was blown away. He was like, "Oh my God, it would have never occurred to me to do that. It seemed dangerous, and I can't believe that, they all want that, and they all enjoyed that so much." So it was a really good lesson of, even if the herd seems well prepared, well bonded, really calm, they are not necessarily understood by their owners, right? And they were treated without violence, but they were also not treated as, like, what do you need? What do you want? And giving them that freedom and that invitation of expressing their specific interest, right? So during that course, over 3 days, we worked on heart coherence and, understanding what that is. And there were about 14 people, and I didn't want to do the regular energy hog because these horses were not prepared for that. They had never done that before, and it takes a while, as you all have seen. Usually when we offer that for the first time, the horses are like, "I'm not sure what's going on," and we need to school them in that. So we tried a different activity, and we were standing next to the horses. First, one person putting one hand on the heart area, like on the chest, and the other one on top of their body, not at a specific position. And we were imagining to have this like energy flow through the hand into the horse, through the heart into my body, and then again, right? So this like a circular energy movement. And the participants reported that they felt like this warm sensation and this really nice connection. The horses accepted it immediately, they seemed to like it. And then we tried to do that between 2 people. So one on each side of the horse. And we imagined that there was like a figure-8 energy flow, right? So through the heart of the horse, into the arm, through my body, into the hand, through the horse and the heart, and then into the other person's body. So then you have this like figure-8 energy flow between the 2 of them. And at this point, the group was already bonded. They liked each other and they felt really connected to each other. And the horses, well, this here is a mule, right? Who turned out to be the magician, the master of this herd. He was so present and so eager and so like leading the interactions. Brilliant. And he and the other horses immediately got that, and they were very calm. They seemed to enjoy it. The participants had this connection, warmth feeling. And it was an exercise that really worked very well without any instructions for the horses. And it brought the people closer together. So I would recommend this activity, for example, for couples or families, or maybe in a retreat setting when the people already know each other. Don't do it in a company setting where there is not such a, like tight closeness, or where people feel a little more uncomfortable to create an energy flow with somebody else. It's like too much. But in settings where connection is wanted and where closeness is wanted and vulnerability is available, it's a really, really nice activity. And it was interesting because the owner said that the mule is, he said he really saw a change in behavior because the mule is, he said, not, he said he's really wild. He has his own character. He doesn't accept anything. He's really strong. He will be, he is trained for rides and he takes him on rides, but he's like super strong, like a warrior horse kind of. And we met the mule as the most connected, soft, sweet, incredibly engaged healer. I cannot say it in a different way. He was so present and so interested in us. And he would, when I was like walking around and helping everybody do the different exercises, he would always look at me like doing his exercise with some person, and then he would like slowly turn his head and look me in the eye, like, am I doing this right? Or, what's going on? And then look back in such a incredibly present way that I've rarely seen with horses. So the mule was brilliant. And yeah, and it was nice to hear that feedback from the owner, that they change behavior within minutes when the right proposal is in the paddock, right? So never let somebody make you believe that a horse is not able to do this because it's too wild or too strong or too stubborn or too whatever. Of course, always, keep your safety in mind. Don't go in if the horse is known as a biter or an aggressive kicker. Some horses do attack. But doing heart coherence and heart mouth exercises, maybe from the other side of the fence, will bring a closeness that allows you to assess the horses and yeah, like embrace the possibility of the doubt, where you are getting to know them from your own perspective instead of believing everything that the owner says, who supposedly knows them, because turns out they don't know them that well usually. And I've seen that always in almost every place where I go. The horses show up differently than the owner knows them. Do you have questions about this activity, or do you see yourself doing it? Do you think it's going to be helpful? What do you think?
I can see myself doing it. It's very interesting, and especially as you said, for couples or for families, siblings, maybe. I'm definitely gonna try it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm excited to hear how it goes with other horses. Please
Yeah.
share your experiences, because this is the first time that I'm doing it that way. It worked really well with that group and that herd, but it's going to be interesting to investigate a little bit how it turns
Mhm.
out, how it works. If it's, it could be too much for some horses. It could be difficult for people to imagine that if they have not learned about heart coherence. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to learn more about that.
I had just one question. Right when you first started talking about it, I was in a bad area, so it cut out just a little bit. But are you calling this as by a specific name, this different technique, or is it still the energy hug and it's just a different way to do it?
I think I don't know. For now, it's like a variation of the energy hug, because it is also like the same idea of creating that energy flow and that calmness and connection. But you know, if it turns out to be different, then we can give it a different name. So, mhm,
Perfect.
yeah,
Well, I'm excited to try it out.
cool, awesome. Maybe, you know, maybe if we do it with couples, like don't force it with couples that are in a difficult place, right? So I would not do this as a starter activity with a couple that has a lot of friction, because that could really be too much for the horse to like balance two very different energy flows. So for us,
Mm.
it worked really well when everybody was kind of on the same page and everybody was calm and knew already had learned how to regulate their energies and what they were about. And then it turned out really nicely. So same as the energy hug, I wouldn't necessarily start a couple session with that as let's diagnose what you're about, right? Yes.
So the same stands for the energy hack with the standard one. It's not usually a starter activity, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not
And
usually a great
yeah,
activity. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of too much for the horses if they have to regulate from the ground up. So it's better to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
use this for closing or, you know, when the person is already like a little more connected and calmer.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Do we have anything that we would like to discuss or talk about? In the other group, we talked about natural horsemanship for 40 minutes, about that whole
Oh,
concept of, you know, why are there videos that show natural horsemanship and then there is an escalation and they get to even like hit the horses or be quite aggressive in that sense of Pat Pirelli also teaches that you increase the pressure until the horse shows you the desired behavior. And that's a really tricky concept. It's not, it can go wrong if there is ego involved, if you really want to see a certain behavior and then you escalate the stimuli too high. And even the trainers have done that, like when they do shows of, I'm going to train the horse within an hour or, you know, stuff like that, they go really high in the stimuli and use too much pressure. Also, the idea of um, increasing punishment, really, like first having an invitation and then coming to punishment for unwanted behavior or for not doing what I wanted, is also an outdated idea of training, right? So what we want to do now is reward the wanted behavior and ignoring the unwanted instead of punishing unwanted and then not even rewarding for the wanted often. And we came to the conclusion also that, you know, the word in Spanish, it's not natural horsemanship, which has a more open interpretation of handling. In Spanish, it's doma natural, which means doma is like it's like it's more than training even. It's like taming, right? Natural taming. and and that's not what we actually want to do. So it's more handling, right? Horsemanship or natural herd handling. Um, because taming also is always related to submission, right? So the horse has to obey and give in to our wishes. And what we want is to create a partnership where the horse is also allowed to say no, which is a really hard concept for many people. And where we are suggesting something, and unless it's really necessary, like, I don't know, training them to give to get an injection or to get their teeth done or something. But there is a lot of natural horsemanship activities or exercises or shows or videos out there where you're like why why would you do that with the horse? Why is it necessary to do an exercise where the horse is actually showing like a trick, like a circus trick, right? Where there is this video that people call a horse doing yoga that I've been sent 1,000 times up to now, where there is a horse laying down on the ground with the feet up in the air. So it's laying on its back, feet in the air, and somebody's sitting on their chest and moving the legs and like, I don't know, you could maybe call it cuddling or like moving with the horse. And the horse is just static, lying on his back. And it's supposedly a demonstration of complete trust and extreme, partnership. But that exercise, that is a behavior that the horses will never do in the wild. If they lay down, they don't stick their feet in the air unless they're rolling, and then it's for like 2 seconds. So it's a completely unnatural behavior, and it's actually called learned helplessness. So it's not a sign of trust. It's a sign of the horse giving in and having a moment of learned helplessness where they just don't know what else to do. So they give in and they stop fighting or they stop trying to get out of it. It must be really uncomfortable for the horses to lay on their back. They're not made for that. And they just stop trying to change it. And horses are really, I don't want to say good at it, but horses are quick in applying that kind of behavior when they think that there is really nothing that can change. I had that experience once on a trail ride when a horse slipped their leg between two planks of a bridge. So we crossed a wooden bridge and the planks had some space. And then the horse got stuck with the leg, like slid with the hoof under and got stuck with the leg and tried to get it out for a few minutes and then laid down and the heart rate slowed, the temperature slowed and laid down to die. It stopped fighting because the mare kind of understood that there was nothing I can do. And she laid down and it seemed that she was prepared to die. And so we massaged her ears and her body and gave her, like sugar and water and stuff to keep her activated until we could get a saw and get her leg out and nothing happened. She was safe. She wasn't injured, but it was surprisingly fast how she gave in and just decided to, I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna stay here and die, I think. So that horse behavior when they are laying on their back seems very similar to that. And for me, it's not a sign of trust or of a beautiful partnership. It's an unnecessary, uncomfortable exercise that shows your ego more than the horse's trust, way more. And we came to the conclusion in the other group that there's a lot of misinterpretation of natural horsemanship. There's a lot of videos that are showing something that is not natural or respectful or anything nice. And the only way to understand that is following your intuition. If you watch something or if you see something, if you see a video, a photo, a report, and it feels wrong, it's probably because it is wrong, right? So not everything that is labeled natural horsemanship is actually free of aggression or violence. And even the like the most known exercises, like for example the join up, Monty Roberts join up, is not, if it's done in the right way, it can be okay, but it's very often absolutely not okay. And it's a lot of psychological pressure and a lot of unnecessary pressure to bring a horse into a join up. And it's also similar to learned helplessness, where the horse just like gives in, says, I don't know what I'm running away from. So the only thing that I can do is like, okay, like ask you for help because you're the only person there or the only other being there. And very often the join up is done in round pens that have 2-meter high walls because they are for wild Mustangs. So the horse really has nowhere to go, nothing else to do, no way to escape. Then what? So the only thing they can do is turn to you. And that's not a kind method of starting a connection, in my opinion, right? In other circumstances, like for example, in the wild, there is a book from Monty Roberts called Shy Boy, where he is taming or working with a wild Mustang through the join up, but not sending that horse around in the round pen, but following him in the wild until the horse accepts his presence and is willing to connect. And that is a very different application of the join up, and that is really nice. So if you want to have a different experience of join up in Monty Roberts, read Shy Boy. It comes with beautiful pictures and a very, very nice understanding of horse behavior and herd behavior and psychology, equine psychology, and all of that. So just as a side note. All right. So if we don't have any questions, let's close this meeting. I'm going to share the recording in a bit in the group. Thank you so much for joining, and I'm going to see you next week at night. If you can, well, Vasya, probably not, but
Yeah.
but for those in a closer time zone, I'm going to see you next week at night, and keep your questions coming, keep your assignments coming. I'm always happy to see where you are at and what is going on with your horses. So thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Christina.
Have a nice evening, nice day, good weekend, all of it, vacation, and enjoy. And I'm going to see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.